Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for another episode here on the Mommy Podcast. Today we are getting into mom brain, the ever elusive but ever present mom brain. What is it? Why does it happen? What is the purpose for it? I am getting into that today. And selfishly, I am getting into it because it is something I have personally dealt with, still dealing with it. I'll share that soon. Something that it's just very annoying. You have this total absence of memory where you feel like maybe you could remember things very well in the past, and then boom, pregnancy happens. And then lingering a long time into postpartum, you're still struggling with this brain fog, mom brain issue. What's going on? Well, we're getting into that today. Okay, so to start things off, I just wanted to say, mom brain, everybody says it when you get pregnant and you start becoming forgetful. You forget things. And I don't even have to explain mom brain. I mean, I feel like everybody knows what that is and everybody has heard that. It's like a rite of passage. You go through this, everyone says you're pregnant, you start forgetting stuff, and it can get really, really bad. I remember after my first baby, I was trying to just talk to new moms and make new friends. And I came across this meme and it hit me so hard because it was literally an interaction that I had where someone was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I can't even remember what I said, but the meme was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And the person goes, "I like toast." And I feel like I said something like that. It was just, nothing made sense. I couldn't even communicate. My brain was just so removed from my body. And I feel like a lot of moms can relate to that. It is something that is universal. And you generally feel like your brain is like floating above your head in a little balloon and you're holding the string and it's like, I'm here, but my brain's over there, and nothing is really connected. So let's get into the research. Let's look at what's going on. So the National Library of Medicine, the NLB, put out a study in October of 2021. And the study supported the existence of cognitive changes after birth. And this led to forgetfulness, fogginess, and feeling scatterbrained. Now, this study was obviously linking that, yes, there is a correlation to pregnancy and postpartum and then having this scatterbrained mom brain feeling. However, they didn't really get into the why. Why does this happen? So that's all I'm going to reference from that study. It was, it stated it. It's a thing. It happens. Now, JAMA Neurology, is that how you say it? Probably not. JAMA Neurology, the American Medical Association in 2023 put out a study, and the title of it was Time to Rebrand Mommy Brain. And I thought that was funny because, I've heard that forever. And even my grandmother says, "Oh yeah, mom brain, I remember that." And, it goes by so many different things: baby brain, momnesia, pregnancy brain. It's basically memory loss, brain fog. And in this study, they said 80% of pregnant and postpartum women report it. So they report feeling this memory loss, brain fog. And they actually said what it is. Why does this happen? Now, before I get into that, sitting at the dinner table, I was telling my husband about this episode. He was like, "Cool, you're doing an episode on mom brain. Tell me about that." And guys, my brain literally left my body and went into that balloon, because I'm telling him all this stuff and he goes, "Interesting. So why does that happen?" And I was sitting there going, you know what? I should look that up. I should find a study about that. And then my brain starts to, slowly like float back from the balloon and into my body mid-conversation. He's saying something and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. Let me go get my notebook. I think I actually found the reason why." And he looked at me with these like deer in the headlights, like, "Are you joshing me? Is this really happening?" And he's like, "You have to include that in your episode. You're mom braining about mom braining. And that is wild. Like, it's still here." And I mean, my little one's 1.5 years, and it's still very much alive in me. Mom brain, I feel like it's going to follow me for a while, and actually many years, as I get back to referencing the study. So they said that, continuing off with that study, 80% of pregnant and postpartum women report having mom brain, this brain fog, memory loss. Now, what is it? Well, it is a functional brain adaptation that is reported in birthing parents as they learn the suite of behaviors necessary to keep offspring alive. So what that is a reduction of the gray matter in the prefrontal regions and the hippocampus. And these are brain areas important for memory. And this can last up to 6 years. Wow. Wow, 6 years. Now that was really long. That was like the fringe. And I'm obviously putting the fringe in here because that's the biggest, longest marker. And I couldn't believe that. Now, going back to the why did they say that? So to keep offspring alive, you are learning this new suite of behaviors. So you are shutting out all of the extra stuff. People are telling you like, hey, there's this gala or whatever that's happening next month. Would you like to go? And you completely forget the conversation because what you're focusing on is, did my infant have 2 bowel movements today? Like, that kind of stuff. Am I keeping my infant alive? Are they eating? Are their in and outs good? Are they healthy? Are they sick? What do these cries mean? What are these cues that they're trying to tell me? So it's basically hyper-focusing your brain on direct infant care, direct baby care. And I mean, up to 6 years, I guess, up until they're 6 years old. Now, I found that fascinating, and it makes complete sense to me that your brain would rewire itself to just focus on being a mother and mothering with your little one, and how all the extra stuff, no matter how important, I mean, some things are very important that are said to you and you still forget them. Trust me, I've been there where you're sitting there and someone's like, do you remember this very important conversation? And you're just trying to make sure your eye's not twitching because you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I hope you can't read that all over my face. So it is important. It is unfortunate in some senses that you do forget a lot of the other things, but it is necessary to your and your little one's prosperity. So if that makes you feel any better about losing your mind, it is for a good reason. So there we go. Hi, everyone. Taking a few minutes here to ask you for something. If you have been a longtime listener or you are new here, I would like you to go and rate and review the show. Ratings and reviews of the show help to spread it to a wider audience and to get it to more mothers that are out there. It really helps me. It helps the show. And I absolutely love seeing the feedback. So if you haven't done that yet, please go give me a rating, give me a review. It better be good. If it's not, I'm deleting it. Okay, that's it. Back to the show. Thanks. Bye. All right, jumping from there into another awesome publication. So Nature Neuroscience did a study in September of 2024. It was published. And usually my studies that I find have like thousands of women in these massive bodies of data. Now, this one did not. It was very specific. And I feel like those should also be included because they take a lot of time and a lot of love and attention for people to put these studies together. And it was still a major study. So it was one woman who had 26 MRIs done to check her brain. So basically to be watching the changes that she would experience before she is pregnant, and then while she's pregnant, and then after she's pregnant. So to use precision imaging to see what's going on. And this went up for 2 years postpartum for her. Now, just as a reminder, worldwide, nearly 85% of women in the world experience 1 or more pregnancies in their lifetime, with 140 million women becoming pregnant each year. And as I mentioned in earlier episodes, the massive numbers that come with pregnancies and postpartums and everything that everyone listening to the show is going through all at the same time or different times. We're all going through this same little mixing pot of experience. So bringing it back to this woman that went through all of these tests to have the evaluations done and to have the information that we can actually look back at and study. Keeping in mind a 40-week gestational window for the female body that goes through profound physiological changes and adaptations to support this developing fetus within your body. Now, this study used precision imaging to map neuroanatomical changes from preconception through 2 years postpartum. And they noticed a pronounced decrease in gray matter volume and cortical thickness, and it was evident across the brain. So I read that and I thought, yes, that sounds bad, but that also sounds very much like me. I can relate to this woman. Now, to just give some context, gray matter is responsible for interpreting and processing information, its memory, its decision-making in the brain. So if you have a decreased amount of gray matter, what do you think is happening to all those things? Yeah, decreased functionality, guys. Now, cortical thickness increases in childhood. So you are growing, you are intaking a lot, you are learning a lot, you're expanding, right? Your cortical thickness is increasing and it decreases with normal aging. So it's also decreasing during pregnancy. And now this does come back. And that's something I'll talk about before I end the show, which I think is amazing. But these are actual changes that happen. And they use this, beautiful new age science to look at these images and go, here's the actual changes. It's not just people anecdotally saying, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm forgetting stuff all the time. No, there are actual physiological changes happening in your brain, and they are happening for a reason, to keep you and your baby alive. Awesome, right? Mom brain has a really big, awesome, important reason. So I hope that gives you some comfort in realizing that, yeah, you're losing your mind. It also gives you some knowledge that you can share to those around you and be like, hey, I'm going to lose my mind. It's going to be gone for a long time. I'm going to try my best, but it's great to prepare yourself and to prepare those around you that that's happening, because it's a big thing. I mean, to forget important things, not the best, but for good reason. Now that's what I had for you today. That's all I had to share. I wanted to get into mom brain. This led me down a rabbit hole. Of course, they literally always do. So there's information that I stumbled upon in looking into this data that will definitely be in a future episode that looks at these changes and how they actually reshape you for the better in the long run, right? Like your brain is not going to go exactly back to how it was. It is going to be reshaped. So, you're evolving yet again, firmware upgrade number 16,024. Like there's a lot of things happening with your body. And hey, the good news is you might not even remember this episode, but the replays will always be here. I will be here. And it's a crazy journey. It's something that doesn't get a lot of light. It doesn't get a lot of front page news, but it is a major thing that is happening with your body. It is a major change that is happening with your mind, and it's happening for a very, very good reason. So I'm excited to get into, the reshaping and why that's happening and how that helps you in the future, but that's for another time. Now, this episode was really fun for me. Mom brain has been a very elusive term of like, I don't understand why I'm forgetting everything. Why is my body so out of whack, even though I feel like I'm getting more in line with myself and I'm still forgetting. So if you are there, if you are feeling that, what the heck is going on? Where is my brain? It's there. It can take up to 6 years postpartum. The median that I found was at about the 3-year mark. And I'll get into that in another episode of talking, again, about why those changes are happening. And hey, I'm aware you're a mom. You might not even remember a lot of this episode. So if you need to replay it, it's here. It will be here forever. Now, thanks again. I hope that with your half-cocked brain, you get out there and just go and live your life. Know that you're in your vibe, you're in your current state, and it's ever evolving. All right, so that is it for the show today. I'm wrapping things up. I really enjoyed looking at these studies and finding out, what the heck is going on. I hope that it gave you some consolence. Yeah, I hope it gave you some consolence on where you're at. If you're forgetting a whole bunch of stuff and you're wondering what's going on with me, well, this is what's going on with you. And it's normal. We all go through it to some extent and for some period of time. Remember that you're keeping people alive and your body is morphing to be able to do that to the best of its abilities. That is incredible. So keep that thought in mind. I hope you go out there and have a great day. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks again for joining me.